Allora, professor Pisano, vorrei iniziare l'intervista innanzitutto con il titolo della sua relazione, Can Science Be a Business? Ecco, innanzitutto la mia prima domanda è possibile questa convergenza tra due mondi così differenti?
Yes, so I think it's definitely possible for science to be a business. Science is becoming a business. The relevant issue, though, is how to make it a productive business so we preserve both the integrity of the science and we allow that science to be commercialized in a way that's economically attractive.
Ecco, lei ha parlato di una serie di sfide da affrontare per creare un science-based business. Ecco, appunto, quali sono queste sfide che bisogna affrontare e soprattutto quale dovrebbe essere il ruolo che dovrebbero assumere le università e le start-up companies in questo tipo di processo?
So there's a number of challenges of any science-based business. The major one is the time it takes to go from science to a commercial product. So unlike software or consumer electronics where you can create a product in a year or less, we could be talking about a decade or more. So the first challenge is you have to get financing for a very long period of time. The second challenge is it's highly uncertain. Most things don't work. And the third thing is it's very complicated and very complex commercialization process involving a range of different capabilities and disciplines that have to come together. I think universities can play a very important role by reducing the uncertainty through the quality of the science that they do.
Io ho letto in una sua intervista recentemente che molto spesso uno degli errori che si compie maggiormente è che tutti si aspettano che l'industria del biotech funzioni come tutte le altre industrie che riguardano le alte tecnologie, ma in verità non è così che funziona. Ecco, per quale motivo e appunto come dovrebbe funzionare in modo produttivo un'industria del biotech?
So you're absolutely right. I mean, biotech and science-based industries like biotechnology work on a different logic because of the very long time scale and the high degree of uncertainty. So it's a mistake to think that the models we see in software will work in biotechnology. In general, what is absolutely critical for any biomedical product is a fairly long period of intense collaboration between companies that understand the market and have downstream capabilities like pharmaceutical companies or major medical device companies and the companies, the startup companies who are doing the work. It can't be arm's length. They have to be working extremely closely. And the same applies for companies working with universities. They actually have to work quite closely together as opposed to some arm's length relationship where a technology is licensed and kind of thrown over the fence. The ecosystem model recognizes that it takes several parties, several types of organizations and institutions to bring something from the bench, the scientific bench, to the bedside of the patient. You need tech transfer offices, you need academic inventors who are interested in those uses, you need startup companies, you need venture capitalists who not only provide financial capital, but really they provide a lot of knowledge around the management and the management of the process and connecting these firms to talent. And then you need partners who are capable of bringing the product to market or understand the user needs. I think all of those pieces really have to be together to have a successful ecosystem.
Lei ha parlato anche dell'esempio italiano, dell'Italia. In che modo vede l'innovazione in Italia, soprattutto lo sviluppo dell'industria del biotech? Quali sono secondo lei gli errori più gravi che sono stati compiuti in Italia? Perché l'Italia è così in ritardo?
Well, I think, Italy's a little bit behind, but you have to remember there's some strengths, which, I mean, there's very strong scientific research in some areas of biomedicine in Italy. And you need to exploit those. In some areas, for example, neuroscience, Italy's got particular strengths. So I think the lesson for any country in Europe is kind of find what your particular strengths are. If you think about the U.S., one advantage we've had is we've had massive investment from the government in basic biomedical research for decades. So the National Institute of Health spends 30 to 35 billion US dollars a year after year after year. And that's just a massive scale compared to what all of Europe spends. I know Europe is trying to catch up and spending more, but it's going to be almost impossible to outspend the US on that. So the alternative strategy for a country like Italy is to say, okay, let's find a couple of areas within the science where we already have an advantage, where we already attract the strongest researchers, focus the resources there, make it even stronger so it becomes known as a particular, center of excellence for one type of one area. in the biomedical field, and that will attract companies to come. I know I'm involved with a couple of companies that have collaborations in Italy because we're actually finding expertise that we don't find elsewhere in the world.